The words strike harder than any prison door ever could. The courtroom falls silent. Not because the verdict is surprising, because everyone already knows what comes next. The judge closes the file with a quiet thud that echoes through the room. The wooden benches stop creaking. Even the ceiling fan seems to slow as every pair of eyes turns toward you. Your hands rest on the defense table, but your fingers no longer belong to you. They refuse to move. Across the room, your parent grips a wrinkled handkerchief until the fabric twists into a knot. A friend avoids your eyes. A correctional officer waits beside the door with a ring of keys that glints beneath the fluorescent lights. Then the sentence is spoken. Years. Not days. Not months. Years. The words strike harder than any prison door ever could. The officer places a hand near your shoulder. Time to go. You stand. The courtroom blurs behind you. The doors swing open. Sunlight touches your face for what might be the last ordinary morning of your life. Months earlier. Level 1, final verdict. Life once moved according to alarms, appointments, and familiar streets. Morning coffee steamed beside the kitchen window while ordinary worries filled your thoughts. Bills waited on the counter. Messages buzzed across your phone. Tomorrow always felt guaranteed. Then one decision changed everything. Police lights painted the night in flashing blue and red. Cold metal pressed around your wrists. Curious faces watched from behind curtains while your neighborhood became a stage you never wanted to stand upon. Days passed inside holding cells where clocks disappeared and questions repeated themselves. Your lawyer spread documents across a narrow table. There is still hope. You nodded because there was nothing else to do. Each court appearance felt shorter than the last. Witnesses spoke. Evidence appeared. Every sentence carried another brick toward a wall closing around your future. Your parent never missed a hearing. Every visit ended the same way. A smile brave enough for you. Tears saved for the parking lot. When the verdict finally arrived, the room seemed too small to contain it. The correctional transport waited outside. Its steel door swung open. You climbed inside. The lock clicked behind you. Nobody spoke during the drive. Only chains answered every bump in the road. Ahead, tall fences slowly rose above the horizon. Level 2, steel arrival. The prison gate opens with the sound of grinding metal. Concrete walls stretch farther than you can see. Guard towers stand motionless against a gray sky. Razor wire catches the morning light like frozen lightning. Inside processing, your belongings disappear one item at a time. Wallet, watch, belt, shoes, photographs. Each object slides into a plastic container until only a prison uniform remains. A correctional officer slides it across the counter without looking up. Put this on. The mirror reflects someone unfamiliar. The person staring back wears your face, but none of your former life. A camera flashes. A number replaces your name. Boots echo down endless hallways while heavy doors unlock and relock behind every step. The air smells of disinfectant, iron, and old concrete. Every sound lingers longer than expected. A distant shout. A tray striking the floor. Keys rattling against a guard's belt. You finally stop outside a narrow cell. One bunk. One sink. One toilet. One tiny window too high to see through. Your cellmate sits quietly on the lower bunk, studying you without speaking. The officer closes the door. Steel meets steel. The sound settles deep inside your chest. Night arrives. The lights never truly go out. Footsteps continue beyond the bars while distant voices fade into echoes. You stare at the ceiling. Sleep never comes. Morning whistle. 5 sharp blasts. Your first full day has begun. Level 3, silent rules. Breakfast is served before sunrise. Plastic trays slide across metal counters while hundreds of footsteps move in perfect rhythm. Nobody needs directions. Everyone already knows where to stand, where to sit, and where not to look. You don't. One wrong turn earns a dozen silent stares. An older inmate taps the empty seat beside the wall. No smile, just a small nod. You sit. Watch first, comes the quiet advice. Talk later. For days, you do exactly that. You notice invisible boundaries inside the recreation yard. Certain benches remain untouched. Certain tables belong to certain groups. Conversations stop whenever correctional officers walk past. Respect isn't requested. It's measured. Every meal, every glance, every decision. The older inmate becomes your unexpected mentor. During library hours, worn books replace noisy corridors. Pages turn slowly while the outside world feels farther away than ever. Prison punishes everyone, the mentor says without lifting tired eyes from the book. But only some people keep punishing themselves. The sentence follows you back to the cell. Weeks pass. The routine becomes strangely predictable. Wake, count, eat, work, count again, exercise, lockdown, repeat. Then one afternoon, while returning from the workshop, another inmate steps directly into your path. The corridor suddenly falls quiet. No guard is nearby. No mentor is beside you. Only one narrow hallway. And one decision waiting to be made. Level 4, broken routine. The hallway seems to shrink with every heartbeat. The inmate studies your face without saying a word. A faded scar stretches from one eyebrow to the corner of the jaw, telling a story nobody needs explained. Around you, footsteps slow. Conversations disappear. Even the fluorescent lights seem louder. Then the stranger steps aside. No threat, no punch, just a warning whispered as you pass. Choose your company carefully. The corridor exhales. So do you. Days settle into a rhythm measured by whistles instead of clocks. Morning count. Breakfast. Work assignment. Lunch. Yard time. Evening count. Lockdown. Every sunrise looks almost identical to the one before it. At first, routine feels unbearable. Eventually, it becomes dangerous. You stop noticing the passing weeks. Calendar pages lose their meaning. The outside world fades into imagination. The only proof that life still exists beyond the walls arrives inside thin, white envelopes. Your parents' handwriting appears every Sunday. The letters never mention pity. Instead, every page describes ordinary moments. The garden finally bloomed. The neighbor repaired the old fence. Your favorite bakery still opens before sunrise. Simple details become priceless because they remind you that the world continues turning without asking permission from prison walls. You read each letter until the folds begin to tear. One Sunday, mail is distributed across the housing unit. Names are called. Envelopes change hands. Your name never comes. You wait until every stack is empty. Nothing. The empty space inside your pocket feels heavier than any chain. That night, sleep refuses to arrive. Instead, a fight erupts somewhere beyond the tier. Boots pound across concrete. Orders echo through the darkness. You grip the edge of your bunk while alarms fill the building. Morning reveals broken silence. And fresh blood drying on the corridor floor. Level 5, prison choices. The stain disappears before breakfast. Buckets of water. Industrial brushes. Within minutes, the corridor looks untouched. Only the whispers remain. Violence, you realize, leaves fewer marks on concrete than on memory. Later that week, 3 inmates corner you near the recreation yard. One offers protection. Another offers belonging. The third says nothing at all, simply waiting for your answer. Joining the prison gang would make life easier. Better tables in the dining hall. Safer walks through crowded corridors. Fewer people willing to test you. The price isn't written anywhere, but everyone knows it. Your mentor watches from across the yard without interrupting. The choice belongs to you. That evening, you find the education wing instead. Dusty books line old shelves. A volunteer teacher writes today's lesson across a faded whiteboard. Only a handful of inmates attend. The room feels strangely quiet compared to the rest of the prison. You open a notebook for the first time in years. The pencil feels unfamiliar. Your handwriting looks clumsy. Still, you keep writing. Days become months. Reading replaces arguments. Classes replace idle hours. You earn certificates that nobody outside the prison celebrates. Yet every completed lesson rebuilds a small piece of the person you thought had disappeared. Your mentor notices before anyone else. You've stopped surviving, comes the quiet observation. You're preparing. Then the emergency alarm sounds. Every door slams shut. Correctional officers sprint past the classroom. Someone has started a riot. Smoke begins creeping beneath the doorway. The lights suddenly go dark. Level 6, hidden growth. The emergency lasts 6 hours. When the cell doors finally reopen, the prison feels older. Windows are shattered. Tables lie overturned. Black scorch marks stain concrete walls. The riot becomes another story passed between cells, another reminder of how quickly years of peace can disappear. You return to class the very next morning. Only half the chairs are occupied. The volunteer teacher unlocks the classroom, sweeps broken glass into a pile, and begins the lesson without mentioning yesterday. That quiet act changes something inside you. Not every victory arrives with applause. Some victories begin by showing up again. Months continue passing. Your mentor encourages you to earn vocational certificates. The teacher helps you prepare for examinations. You begin tutoring newer inmates who struggle to read. For the first time since arriving, someone asks for your help instead of your silence. The prison walls remain exactly where they have always been. Yet your mind slowly discovers spaces no fence can contain. One afternoon, a correctional officer approaches during work detail. You've got legal mail. The envelope is thicker than usual. Your hands hesitate before breaking the seal. Inside is a single notice. Your parole hearing has been scheduled. The date sits at the center of the page like a doorway waiting to open. Around you, the workshop continues humming. Machines keep running. Conversations never stop. But your world has already changed. Somewhere beyond these walls, freedom suddenly has a calendar. And somewhere inside the prison administration building, your entire future is about to be reviewed. Level 7, Parole Waiting. The waiting room feels quieter than the prison ever has. Freshly polished floors reflect rows of empty chairs. A clock hangs above the doorway, yet every second seems unwilling to move. Your prison uniform has been pressed for the occasion, but the fabric still carries years of routine within its seams. Your mentor sits beside you for a final conversation before correctional officers call your number. Don't let hope become expectation, comes the familiar voice. Walk in with honesty. Walk out with strength. The door opens. Your name echoes through the hallway. Inside, members of the parole board study thick folders filled with years of decisions, mistakes, reports, and progress. One member adjusts reading glasses. Another flips through certificates earned in prison. A third pauses over letters written by your parent, each one describing unwavering belief instead of excuses. Questions begin. Why have you changed? What would you do differently? Who are you now? You answer without rehearsed speeches. You speak about responsibility instead of blame, about discipline instead of excuses, about rebuilding instead of escaping. The room falls silent. One board member closes the file. We'll notify you. That's all. No smile. No promise. The heavy door closes behind you. The hardest part of prison, you discover, isn't waiting for freedom. It's waiting to learn whether freedom is waiting for you. Level 8, Freedom Denied. The envelope arrives 3 weeks later. You recognize the official seal before opening it. Your thumb rests against the paper for several long seconds. Finally, you unfold the letter. Parole denied. The words are short. The weight behind them is immeasurable. The walls seem taller during the walk back to your housing unit. Every gate closes with a little more force. Every lock sounds permanent again. That weekend, your parent arrives for visitation. The hair has grown grayer. The smile is smaller. Yet the eyes remain exactly the same. You slide the letter across the table. No tears appear. Only a gentle hand covering yours. I've been waiting this long, comes the quiet reply. I can wait a little longer. Those words stay with you after the visit ends. Instead of surrendering, you return to the classroom. You continue mentoring younger inmates. You continue working. You continue preparing for a future that still refuses to reveal its date. Months pass. Then another year. One morning, another official notice arrives. Your sentence has reached its final stage. This time, there is no hearing. Only one release date. It is written in black ink. Impossible to misunderstand. Level 9, Open Gates. Release morning arrives before sunrise. You fold the same blanket one last time. You wipe the small metal shelf until it shines. You stand quietly inside the cell that once felt impossible to survive. Your mentor approaches before officers begin morning count. No dramatic farewell. No long speech. Just one firm handshake. You owe me nothing, comes the gentle reminder. Just don't come back. The words carry more hope than any promise ever could. Processing feels strangely familiar in reverse. A correctional officer returns the wallet stored years ago. The watch. The belt. The photographs. Each item feels smaller than you remembered. The final gate unlocks. Steel slides against steel. Morning sunlight reaches your face without passing through bars. Fresh air carries the scent of rain instead of disinfectant. You take one cautious step, then another. Nobody applauds. Traffic moves beyond the prison walls as though nothing extraordinary has happened. Yet everything has changed. The gates slowly close behind you. This time, you remain outside. Level 10, Second Beginning. Freedom feels unfamiliar at first. Crosswalk signals change too quickly. Store shelves seem endless. Conversations happen without permission from correctional officers. Simple choices become overwhelming. You stand inside a grocery store staring at dozens of cereal boxes, quietly laughing because prison never prepared you for abundance. Your parent waits patiently through every awkward moment. No pressure, only presence. You find work where honesty matters more than your past. The paycheck is modest. The purpose is not. You begin speaking with young people standing one bad decision away from the road you once traveled. You never glorify prison. You describe the silence, the birthdays missed, the empty chair at family dinners, the letters that became lifelines, the nights when hope nearly disappeared. Some listen, some don't. You keep speaking anyway. Years later, you drive past the prison by chance. The guard towers still watch the horizon. The fences still hold razor wire beneath the sun. Someone new is arriving through those gates. Someone else is counting the days. You slow the car for only a moment. Not out of longing, out of gratitude. Prison took years from your life. It also stripped away every illusion you carried inside. It taught you that freedom is not measured by open gates. It is measured by the choices you make after walking through them. The noise is gone. The anger is gone. The person who entered those walls believing survival was enough has quietly disappeared. Morning light spills across the windshield as the prison fades into the distance. For a moment, you remember the version of yourself who believed the sentence would define the rest of your life. You barely recognize that person. Without looking back, you keep walking.